everyone. Madeline Zell here, and I have an amazing author for you guys. He's also got some amazing artwork in his books you'll have to check out. I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell us a little bit about his books and what he's got going on.
Oh, geez. So my name's Josh Pantalleresco. How you doing? I'm an author, podcaster, broadcaster, and I dabble in illustration. That's how we'll do it. So my latest book release is Alice 1. It is an epic poem with illustrations from Kenzie Carr. Kenzie's amazing. I'm going to not speak high enough about her. My next book, though, I am writing and drawing it, and it's been an interesting challenge in my life to actually put those things together. It's been a wild ride. And it's one of those situations where I'm if I were to describe myself in a perfect word, I'm a dabbler. I just do things, and I just figure stuff out as I go.
Nice. So, and I have to say, his books are pretty amazing, guys. I think I've read everything you've got out so far. And
did you read so I did a traditional epic poetry run called The Watcher, Storm Dancer, and The Wandering God.
I haven't read those yet. I've got all of the Alice series and the new one that's coming out.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I've got some catching up to do.
Yeah, no, I most people don't realize this. I have 6 books out. I have 6 books out. And again, most people know me as a podcaster, and I'm really cool with that. The podcast has opened so many doors for me, right? But people forget I'm an award-nominated writer. Alice Zero was nominated for the Elgin Award last year. So yeah, I'm good at what I do that way as well. I've also done a lot of freelancing. Like I have a lot of freelance articles published. I do a column for firstcomics.com. So, it's one of those situations where, I do a lot. I'm very prolific with what I do. And my writing sometimes is the quiet thing, actually, of the bunch. And again, I don't mind it. People know me for my podcast. I'm grateful. But never forget, I'm damn good at what I do, too.
You are. I have to admit that. I am curious on how the art is coming for the next book.
Slowly. So what I got to do, and I'm doing this a little bit later today, when I'm done this interview, I'm going to go to an art store and buy a specific book just for the illustrations for Alice Zero. Just so people can see kind of what my art style is. This is an art book I draw in. It's kind of cool. So my latest drawing, this is Ryu from Street Fighter throwing his cheesy fireball. Right?
Nice.
Right now, that's not to say, again, if you look at me, I will call myself adequate. I'm not the greatest illustrator on the planet. It just was one of those things I challenged myself to learn during the pandemic, which, like I said, we'll keep Canadian politics out of this today, because it's a little, if you guys are watching this and seeing what's going on in Canada, it is as nuts as it sounds, and it's getting crazier by the day. So we will see how this all goes going forward, but it's gonna be really interesting to kind of see how this all resolves. It's gonna be fun, I think. But yeah, we'll move on past that. But during this time, it's just I've extended my skill sets. I do video editing. I can do I've done film work. I've just been constantly pursuing a creative life. The one thing about this time it's taught me is that life is incredible. Reminded me, I should say, life's incredibly short. Mm-hmm. So you gotta go do the things you're gonna do, because you never know when tomorrow's boom, you're not here anymore.
Yeah. And I actually have been pretty inspired by some of the stuff you've done, the drawings, especially. I've actually started trying to create some of my own art for my books. I have no idea where the notebook is right now, but actually I've drawn a wolf and some other kind of stuff to go with my hellhounds. It's
fun, isn't it? It's surprisingly fun, right? It's an interesting, so the next artist I'm working with, I'll tell you, my next book after the illustrated one is going to be a more traditional novel, or at least I'm writing just a prose. I'm getting Anvu. I don't know if you know who she is. She's an incredible.
I've heard the name, but it's been in passing. So
look up her comic work. It's holy shit, is she good? She's amazing.
Nice.
And we've talked about what we're going to do. We start working on that project next month. And so I got to get writing. Now, the thing is, I can write pretty prolifically, pretty fast. That's the other thing maybe we'll talk about too, is what I've learned doing my podcast, doing my shows, is the importance of discipline. showing up every day and doing stuff, right? And just watching and seeing what's happening and going on, right? And letting things happen. That's the thing. I do that all the time. I just go and do things and shit happens and I'm grateful. And I've learned, and if there's one thing I've learned this weekend is ask for shit more often. Right, because I seem to. Oh, can I swear? Or did I screw up?
You don't. No, you can totally swear. I know everybody is hesitant. Joe was hesitant too. I was just like, it's because I don't swear as much. So
no. So what I'm going to say is that then is, I just do shit. Things happen. I'm grateful. I should ask for more. Like that's the one lesson about this weekend is I ask for more, I get more maybe. And I think that's a real thing. I think that's a genuinely real thing. I think it's cool. And it's been fun to watch. Like I said, as a freelancer, again, I make 4 figures a month as a freelancer. And not high 4 figures yet, but it's impressive to me how it's growing.
That's great. Like, it's also like, this inspiring because I've always kind of wanted to dabble in freelance, but I haven't. Like, now it's definitely not a good time-wise for me, but that's pretty awesome. I like it.
Yeah. So here's the thing: you kind of are like the art form of like with freelancing, creative writing, all these like. Okay, my podcast is my niche, is my base niche. That's what like, and I'm being honest. I write stuff, but really my base niche is podcasting.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my base niche. So everything I do is a reflection of being prolific in the podcast, getting guests, getting people to come on my show, talking about a variety of things, whatever we want to talk about. And on that point and on that note, right, it's just like from there, I've built clients for sponsorships, doing voice work, right. I took a niche and done. You're doing the same thing for creative writing. You're doing it's the exact same skill set. You've decided I'm going to write steamy, hot romance stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm going to put I'm going to make it hot and sexy and all that stuff. I'm going to have some good adventure in there too because I like my smut. That's right, folks. Madeline Dale likes her smut, but that's okay. That's all good. But the point is, you've made a conscious decision of what your focus is, and that's really the secret to freelancing. It's not complicated in the sense that it's like, oh, well, like first 6 months I freelanced, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I'm being very honest. I didn't know what I was doing, and it occurred to me like there were 2 really early lessons. Mm-hmm. Don't price yourself short, and also don't price yourself short. But find your niche, and whatever that is, that's what you build with. That's where you're going to find your success. That's where you're going to find where you're going to go. That's it. Like those are the basic building blocks of, and again, you might pivot along the way. Everybody does, I think, a little bit, but based on those things, you can create openings for all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's because you give me so many tips whenever we get together and chat on here. Like I always, like it's great advice for different things. Like the last one was the whole advertising stuff. I've been using that advice too. So
has it worked?
Oh yeah, definitely. So, and I'm like, okay, why did I not do it in the first place? And,
well, no, because again, it's everybody gets intimidated by the word sales. It's not advertising. This is going to sound counterintuitive to anyone watching this show. Secret to good advertising is not to think about sales. It's about thinking about relationships. Mm-hmm. That's this whole secret. What marketing is, guys, it's really simple. I told her a few things. I'm gonna get smutty here. I want you to, when you hire an advertising agency, I want you to remember the really crappy 1-900 numbers of the 1990s. Okay, and think about the call girl that fakes it. When you hire an advertising agent to do your advertising, that's kind of what it is. Now, it's not quite that. They are advertising agencies, to their credit, do become very enthusiastic about a product when they're paid to be. But what you're paying for is that enthusiasm because they and their expertise and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
you can do a lot of the same things on your own, but your approach has to be, okay, listen, how can I connect with my readers? How can I connect with my audience? How can I establish a relationship with them? Mm-hmm. Even if I fundamentally disagree with some of the things people say, it's just that's just the way it is, right? But that's where it's going. That's what it's doing, and that's the what do you call the trend? Mm-hmm. So what you have to do is then when you look at any product you create, whether it's a book, a company, a podcast, how can I reach out and form a relationship with the people I want to read my stuff? That's it. It's not, and then the best thing is authors already have a huge advantage. They tell stories all the time. So tell a story, make a connection, then make a sale. And it sounds when you hear that like, oh my God, it's that simple. Yes, it is that simple, but you got to stop looking at the pressure of the money end. Be like, okay, I'm Madeline Dale, author extraordinaire. I do stuff, right? And here I am, world, and I am awesome. And this is why. All right. And because again, don't be shy to talk about how good your book is. People want to support you. Don't be shy to talk about how good your art is or your podcast or whatever it is. Don't be shy. But be real, right? Be real with the people you want to be real with. And you'll find that people will, if they don't agree with you, they're going to at least respect you. Mm-hmm. And that's what you want. And you form those connections and relationships. Yep. Confidence
and authenticity. So they're great tips for marketing, guys. It's working. So
again, you make you make friends, and then next thing you know, you get all these really cool little opportunities that come your way. That's it. And freelancing is the same thing. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. Like these are things. I think maybe the biggest piece of advice. What do you want? Mm-hmm. It sounds really right. It sounds really dumb, but the truth of the matter is, like, what are your goals? My goals are I'm good at making shows. Mm-hmm. I do an immigration show for a company. I do my podcast. I'm doing a massage therapy show, and I'm doing very soon another show for another client. Ooh. I'm very good at putting shows together. I understand how a show works in a way, right? So of various shapes and sizes. I understand kind of how to build them. So that's what I'm doing. That's my expertise. So that, and again, me talking about it is one thing. Me showing you is entirely another. Me going on a show and talking like this is my way to reach out and connect to you. Whoever's listening, whoever's watching this is like, hey, I do these things. I also had a comic books. I like doing that too. It's fun.
Yeah. But you're good at all the creativity, like the art stuff. And okay, so I'm gonna swing our conversation back to Alice. Go
ahead. You're in charge. You're in charge. I told you off the air.
But we could totally talk for like hours. It's so easy. Alice 1. So go ahead and tell everybody watching where you got the inspiration for the book, the story, and the characters.
Oh, geez. Okay, so I gotta go back to Alice 0, the first book. Yes. So I was asked to do an anthology, and like my first series, The Watcher, Storm Dancer, Wonder and God. The editor was impressed with them. So she goes to me, can you do something like that for my Lewis Carroll anthology? I'm like, yes, I can. Oh, crap. What the heck can I say about Lewis Carroll that hasn't already been said? So that night I go to a bar. I meet a girl with a Gorgon tattoo on her arm. She's cute. I go to hit on her. She plays with the other team. It's all good. We're still friends. Actually, we're still friends to this day. She's an amazing person. But the thing about that is, right? The thing about that is, so now I had this idea of putting Medusa into this Alice in Wonderland story. I was collecting in my head, and then I had a eureka moment. Holy crap! Alice and Pandora are essentially the same story. And then once that happened, my mind was blown. Like my mind was told. I had suddenly a brand. So what if Alice opened in Pandora's box instead of going down the rabbit hole? And I thought about that. It's like, oh, this is brilliant. So instead, what would happen if she opened the box? Like, well, a certain Cheshire cat would be inside her head. And that is where the story begins in 0. So Alice 1 is the continuation of that story. So in the first book, it's a smaller story. Alice 0 is smaller because it was always meant for an anthology. It didn't make the final cut, but again, got nominated for an Elgin Award for it. I don't really feel that bad. It did okay. I'm good with that.
Yeah, it was great.
It did okay. Alice 1 is actually the first full story. So the way it starts is, well, the Queen of Hearts had imprisoned Alice in the insane asylum. So Alice is chasing the Queen. And the queen goes over the edge of the world. And Alice follows her and ends up in the Greek underworld. And there, to escape, she has to play croquet with Jason of the Argonauts. And why did I choose Jason of the Argonauts? Because it's really simple. Because Jason's a dick. You read him in history. You read him in like mythology. You realize that he's only a hero because he wins. He's not because he's noble. Like the most noble thing he did, honest to God, in the whole of his story is pretty much the first part where he went to the Amazons. He had a family there. He had life there for a while, and it was good. And then he was meant to go on whatever destiny he was supposed to go on. But he lies, he cheats, he murders, he betrays everybody along the way pretty much. It's like, this guy is a bastard. So, and it's like, what a good contrast to Alice, who might be a little crazy, but also is very, by and large, innocent. What a good contrast. What a good opponent for her. So, and then I throw in some Carl Jung and shadow stuff. I throw in and then I sneak up on you because this is about a journey of what my Alice series is really about. I'm not going to tell you the whole thing where it's going to go, but Alice really doesn't have much of a memory of who she is. Once you open the box, everything was chaos, including her mind. And every time she gets a little piece of Wonderland, she remembers something, and it's going somewhere. I'm not going to say where. I'm not going to say how. And but yeah, it's a Wonderland of Greek mythology and Wonderland concepts mashed up together in interesting ways. Like the Griffin, I had the Griffin in Alice in Wonderland mashed up with the Sphinx, right? The Mock Turtle is my favorite mashup. I'm not going to spoil it, folks. She knows what I'm talking about.
Yes,
there.
I do. Yes, yeah. I'm reliving it all in my head as we talk about this. So.
I thought I did a really clever job with that one in particular. Like that one was like, what the hell's going on, right? But that's the thing, and you can see all this. Now, Jason doesn't really have a merger. Not all the characters do. Medusa doesn't either. Mm-hmm. There are reasons for that too, and I'm not going to say what they are. Again, Alice doesn't have a counterpart either, and there's a reason for that. Like she does, and yet she doesn't. Alice is still Alice, even though although in my book she is named Alice Pandora. Her last name is Pandora. So I'm very blunt about what it's about, but we'll see.
I'm curious to see where it goes in the next book. That's for sure. So, because I couldn't put it down.
I can tell you what the title of the next one's called.
Ooh.
Alice 2, TOO.
Nice. I like it.
And if you read one, mm-hmm. So I think you know what that's going to be a little bit more about. Just based on the title alone, I probably have told you a lot about what this next story is.
I have an idea, but we're gonna see. I'm not gonna play with it. I'm gonna leave it in the back.
Yeah. And it's not the next book I'm writing. It's the book after the next book. Yeah. So it's just, and also I kind of accidentally invented a board game with Alice, with this Alice series too. So I'm
sorry. I just found my cat. I've been looking for him all morning. I thought he was outside, and so we're gonna window now. Sorry, I'll cut that part out. Where were we?
Well, no, it's all good. You keep it in. I don't care. I just said that Alice 2 is it's not the book I'm writing next. Next book I'm writing is actually a novel, which is a Russian fairy tale mashed up with Camelot.
Oh, that's going to be so cool.
With a little bit of World War II references. One of the World War II references is I have in there. Do you know who the Night Witches are?
I think I do.
Who are they? Let's see if you know.
Were they the nurses? Or maybe I don't.
So the Night Witches during World War II. So the Russians were getting their butts handed to them by the Nazis. Mm-hmm. So eventually the Russian wives got involved, right? And now here's the thing. They would fly in these wooden planes, these really like old rickety wooden planes. During the day, they would always fly at night. Because at night they couldn't be seen, they couldn't be heard. They would just come, they would terrorize the Nazis. They were the most successful unit of the Russian army.
Wow.
They had like, just to put this in perspective, they had 48 casualties over 4 years.
Dang, that's impressive.
And they just flew wooden planes and they terrorized. They would fly all night. They could hear the whoosh And the Nazis were terrified of them. Like, they were absolutely freaking terrified of them. So, without spoiling too much, I decided to make the 12 Knights of the Round evil. And it's fun. And it's really fun. It was really fun to do. I made, so my main character, she used to be one of the Knights of the Round. She used to be, it's a parallel universe, like empire. So the empire there is using different Earths to grab resources and exploiting all these worlds. And once upon a time, Corey's her name, was a Knight of the Round. Mm-hmm. And she was a killer and a really, really, really good at her job until she broke. Like, she completely broke. Mm-hmm. And she ends up finding these, again, in a parallel universe, these night witches who kind of take her in and give her a purpose in her life. But the story is basically Corey's going after the Knights of the Round for all their bullshit. But along the way, it's also about her. What is a good person? How do you define good? If good is, so she doesn't think she's a good person, but she does think she can have a code of honor. And that sounds a little bit like Parker. Yes, it is. There's definitely a reference to the Parker novels with this. So it's kind of like, it's a Parker novel with some actual gravitas of real history on top of, like, I'm having a time of my life with the Knights of the Round.
It sounds like it's going to be very, very fun to read. Like, I am looking forward to this book for sure. Because, like, everything I've read from you so far has been amazing and just super, like, addictive.
Addictive? Well, I'll take that. I was hoping, like, imagine if I was hoping for, like, I hope, like, again, I think the last thing is, like, as a writer, you have to realize you want to make people feel stuff. Mm-hmm. You want to make people feel stuff.
Well, and it definitely makes you think. Like, there's a lot of times, like, it makes, like, the way you word stuff and the incidents that happen, it makes you pause and think a lot of times too. But I'm going to let the readers take that in for how they perceive it when they read.
Well, I'll give you a little magician's trick. I hope my absurdities make you feel joy and wonder. And then when I hit you with the profound stuff, it kind of just goes, oh, I didn't think about it like that before. If I get you to do that, and then I get you to enjoy the story and maybe get a little bit of, like, yes, when you get to the end, I've done my job. I'm not trying anything complicated, folks. I'm not trying to, I don't care about awards. This is going to sound really dumb because I have one, right? But I mean, for the podcast, but awards are nice, but they come from good work. So I'd rather just do good work, and I'll let whatever happens in my life reward me accordingly.
That's a good way to go about it. Because honestly, like, when you write, it's really not for the words. It's for yourself and just to, like, share what's in here.
Let's be honest. Let's be really honest. We like when people read our stuff. Let's be real here, right? We want that validation, but it's not, you don't get that validation from awards. You get that validation from someone goes, hey, I really read your stuff. I really like your stuff. Like, that's very validating to hear that from you. Like, honestly, that's really cool. That's what we want. The awards are nice. Money's nicer. I'm not going to lie, right? But realistically speaking, what it's about is we are putting ourselves out there in our stories. Yeah. Going, here I am, right? That's what we're doing.
Yes.
That's right. That's what it's all about. It's not any more complicated than that. It really isn't. But that's, again, people have this tendency to make these things it's not. Mm-hmm. You got a story you want to tell. You want people to feel something when you tell the story. That's it. That's it. You want to connect. That's what stories are about. That's why, like, our whole culture is about stories.
Yes.
Connection. It very much is a how do I put this? The human condition. Mm-hmm. So you keep that in mind. You don't give a shit about awards. Honestly, you don't care about where you get published either anymore. It really comes down to your genre, what serves you, right? That's it. It's not overly complicated anymore. Yeah. It's just, that's it, right? There's no rocket science to this. So, but again, we try to make it bigger than what it is and more complicated than what it is.
That is true. Yeah.
Right.
I kind of get lost in my head. Do you find that you put part of yourself in your characters sometimes?
Always. the best story, again, it's about making people feel.
Mm-hmm.
We get this thing in our heads, like we have these really cool concepts, and when we start writing, we have those we have great ideas, especially in the beginning. We have great ideas because we don't have these preconceptions of what is possible. So we try shit, and it's great. But somewhere along the way, okay, in my one novel that's out, I have a unicorn that farts out advertisements, rainbow style.
Which I'm gonna have to put that link for that in the description, guys, because it's an awesome shirt. So
yeah, it's an awesome shirt, but it's also it's in a novel called The Cloud Diver, which is which was one of my other. It's right now a one shot. That is a series I've kind of neglected, but because also I had to get better at my craft. Mm-hmm. To be perfectly honest, to tell the rest of the stories in there. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing about that story, right? I threw absurd shit in there because I like amusing myself. If anybody hasn't figured that out, right? Yeah, a lot of what I do is for my own amusement. But at the same time, right? I realize that the real secret is you can have these really great ideas, but if I don't give a crap about the story or the character, right? No one cares. And that's just something that's this comes later when you get older and wiser and shit. Now, whether I am definitely older, wiser is another thing altogether, but older for sure. And the thing you recognize with that is, pardon me. The thing you recognize about that is, okay, then what do I have that I can make people real? Well, I know what I feel. I know what I believe. I know what matters to me. People are going to connect to that. They're either going to say, I really dig this, or no, you're wrong. You're an asshole. I don't care either way at this point in my life. I just don't. Right? I can look and see, and it's like, you know what? This is what I think. You can disagree with me. I'm cool with that. I'll still have a beer with you. If you got a problem with that, I don't care either. It's like I'm very much no fucks left to give. Like I'm very much that guy. But at the same time, like that's it. But people will respond to what's real to you, whatever that is. So yeah, Alice, there's a little bit of my curiosity might be probably one of my biggest emotions I consistently express. That's why I interview people, folks. It's, right. Again, not super complicated, but at the same time, right. That curiosity and that wonder is always in every book in some way, because it's me, it's who I am. I want people to have that sense of wonder that there's magic in the world, because there really is. Doesn't matter how dark things seem, there's always good that can come from everything. So it's believing in that good that sometimes it's really hard to grasp. But at the same time, like we don't live in a world where good things happen all the time. Bad shit happens all the time. It's what we make of it. And that's just life. I mean, that's just the way it has always been. It's the way it always will be.
Yeah. You have to look for the silver lining in things. So,
so sometimes it's just right in front of your face.
Yeah, too. That's true. Yeah. Sometimes we don't like to admit that it's in front of our face. We're like, no, it can't be that easy, you know? So. Well,
it's also just where we are in that point in my life. Like there were points in my life where things were really hard. I was too angry to look at what was around me, too upset. Tactically speaking, like honestly, right? Honestly, like what it comes down to is you get older, you get wiser, you get a little distance. You can look at things differently as you get older. That's just life. That doesn't mean I don't understand younger me's feelings. They're justified in some cases, absolutely 100%. But I have a little bit more distance now. Also, because of what I learned at a younger age, I can protect myself better at an older age, right? So, but again, all this to say, yeah, it's for me, every good story has the author in there somewhere. It's the part of the story that we bring that cannot be duplicated. Yeah. Every story's been told. That's the truth. But the truth of the matter is what a story is, it's a hallucinatory experience that we are familiar with, told by a unique voice, your voice, whoever you are. That's what we offer. That's our service as a creative. It's a merger of those two things. I know where a story probably is going to go most of the time. I don't care about that. What I care about is how it's told.
Mm-hmm. That was great.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, go ahead and tell our viewers where they can find you and your work.
Okay, so there is Just Joshing, my show. I'll really at first. I interview authors and other creatives. Madeline's been on there twice. Her son has held my show hostage. It is definitely a humbling thing to know that a 3-year-old has that much power in the universe, right? But it's true, right? Also, it's one of my most popular episodes this year so far.
Of course it is.
Yes.
Gosh.
No, it's all. Listen, look. Honest to God, I am humble enough. Again, the universe and me in terms of humility.
Yeah.
A 3-year-old can hold me hostage. I have learned to accept that. I know many a parent that has been through that, and I vicariously through them, I understand some of your life decisions now a little bit better, just because. Yes, they will hold you hostage.
Yeah, they will.
Kids can be evil. Also, the kids can be sweet. And honestly, that's what your kid just honestly adores you. At least right now,
he does. He's definitely a Sour Patch Kid, though.
So Just Joshing airs on twitch.tv/Just Joshing podcast. You can find the audio versions of these episodes on practically every platform. They're there for to listen to. Outside of that, my books can be found on Amazon exclusively, or mirrorpublishing.com for Watcher, Storm Dancer, Wandering God. You can find me on my webpage, jpantalleresco.wordpress.com. You can see everything I'm doing and done. And finally, on YouTube, on my channel, My Consultant, every Thursday, the myconsultant.ca show. I host that with Sarah Ostapchuk. You can watch us do immigration news for the week.
Sweet. All right, Josh. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me and being on my show today.
Listen, it was fun. It was nice to be the pretty one. Yeah. Take care, everybody. Thanks for having me.